and that was placed on back order, and nobody had told me. Since my normal working area and GQ location were the same, I worked through a GQ drill following lunch. When the drill was over, the captain came on the public address system, the1MC, and indicated that he was very pleased with our quick response to the drill. We were very happy about that because he was giving us heck before then, and he was finally satisfied. However, in cautioning us to the seriousness of our situation, he indicated that gunfire ashore could be seen at a distance. So, since I was frustrated about the missing part, I decided to grab a smoke and a Coke and go topside to see what the captain was talking about. So now this is in the afternoon of the attack. So I got my cup of Coke in the mess hall, and I heard a dreadful sound. After just receiving a warning on the 1MC that the mechanics were going to test the Captain Gigg's engine, I thought something was very wrong with the engine. The sound I heard came from the initial attack of 3 Israeli warplanes, unmarked, with their 20-millimeter cannons. Immediately, the GQ alarm sounded, and this time the annunciator indicated, and something that I'll never ever forget as long as I live, the term, "This is no drill." I ran to RR2 and awaited orders. It sounded like all hell had broken loose topside. Those of us in RR2 awaited orders. We were very lucky to be in RR2 because we were protected by many layers of steel before a rocket could come through into our spaces. Nonetheless, the explosive metal-to-metal sounds were blood-curdling. After what seemed to be forever, the jet attack ceased. Then the 1MC annunciator advised, "Prepare for a motor torpedo attack. We're now being attacked by 3 motor torpedo boats, MTBs, flying Israeli flags." I can't remember how many times, but there were 4 torpedoes that were launched at us that the captain avoided. And then another term that I'll never forget in my life, brace for our torpedo starboard side. This was the real McCoy. I mean, which meant the torpedo was going to hit us. The next event I'll never forget, as there was the loudest noise I have ever heard, and I was hurtling in the air. The torpedo explosion came from an area just forward of us on the other side of the ship. The ship finally swayed over to the port side and back to starboard. It finally settled in a 9-degree list to starboard. I could not believe we were still afloat. Master Chief Stan White then ordered us out of RR2. Those of us in the CT intercept spaces now proceeded to a corridor on the port side on the O1 level, assisting the wounded as we grouped together and awaited further orders. Not knowing the extent of the torpedo damage, we thought the ship was going to sink. At the moment, we dare not go topside as the MTBs were shooting at anything that moved. Another CT and I gave mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to our postal clerk, John Spiker, whose chest was riddled with shrapnel. He had a life preserver tightly wrapped around him to try and seal his chest. However, we could not save him, and he died in my arms. My Catholic training kicked in, and I baptized him and whispered an act of contrition in his ear. Next, we were told to prepare to abandon ship. Rounds of 3-inch armor-piercing shells continued along with bursts of 50-caliber machine gun fire could be heard. When all was said and done, 821 penetrations were counted. 821. Remember that number. Now we had to save the ship at all costs. At least that, I think, was in our captain's mind. The events during the attack were chaotic and bloody. The initial jet attack killed 4 sailors manning the forward 50 caliber machine guns. The rocket blew them out of the machine gun barrier emplacements, throwing body parts all over their forecastle area. The subsequent jet attack killed our executive officer, Lieutenant Commander Philip Armstrong, and 4 additional shipmates. Then jets returned, dropping napalm bombs port and starboard, igniting a 55-gallon gasoline drum. The superstructure of the converted World War II cargo ship was engulfed in flames. Firefighters were shot at trying to extinguish the fires, but we did put them out. We used up every single fire extinguisher that we could get our hands on. While this bloodbath was taking place, our engineering personnel kept propulsion systems and the ship operational as much as possible. Now, why I say I'm still alive today, okay? Because of him. While the attack was taking place, radiomen and electronic technicians were desperately trying to establish a communications link. They were hampered by 2 major problems. The Israelis were jamming U.S. Navy communications frequencies.
Okay.
Go ahead.
We were jammed not only on our operational frequencies, which are technically not classified because the FCC allocation table will list United States naval frequencies in there. Nothing is classified in the ether. The frequencies, if you're going to be on it, except for pirate stations, are actually printed in a book. The FCC has that information. We were also jammed on 500 kilocycles, the international distress frequency, a violation of international law. During the rocket attacks, the radio jamming on our operational frequencies, we could not get any messages out. During the actual rocket launchings was when it stopped, when we were able to, and our guys were turning around, the ETs and the radio men, we were trying to get a cable, steel cable, which was our antenna line, into position. Glenn, Ollie, was knocked off the mast twice. You're giving me a lot of credit, and that man deserves a lot more. You can't dial 911 out in the middle of the ocean. You're taught firefighting, you're taught damage control. If you do what you have to do to save the ship, you are indispensable. When the attack started, like I said, I was laying out on deck, went down below, about 15, 20 minutes, opened up the door to Radio Central, and that's when, like Ernie said, he heard the first cannon rounds going off, took out the 255-gallon drums on the starboard side of the ship. The bulkhead outside of Radio Central and inside of Radio Central blistered, and fortunately it did not flash into fire, but bubbled. It melted a 1-inch piece glass porthole, melted it. Immediately we ran to general quarters. And that's that big klaxon along, general quarters, man your battle stations. This is not a drill. My general quarters station was right next to that door going into the CT spots, on the port side of the ship. When that torpedo hit us, on the starboard side of the ship, it was directly opposite my general quarters station. Had it come in the port side, you would not be listening to me right now. That was open to the sea. Fortuitous on my part. Why? We don't know. Every survivor asked the same thing. Why did I survive? The only thing that was told to me is so we can continue to tell the story, to get the truth. That's all we want. That's all we want out of this, is the truth. If we are wrong in our assumptions, and I don't think so, the attack was intentional. Our government covered up that fact. We want the truth. I think we deserve it. The American